Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. I was going to say wet day for some reason. There you go, walking wet day because it's raining. Also, I was going to walk down this path today for the sake of variety, but it turns out that's not really an option. So I get to go down the noisy road again. And I chose to film at a slightly earlier time than usual, so that means we're going to get much more noise than before. Fantastic. That was proper planning on my part. Oh well, doesn't really matter. So, in today's week, first of all, before I go anything updating either my life or this channel, I'm going to disable the other channel because I want this mentioned. If Masako X does a parody of Old Maui, the sea shanty, I am not copying him. I have a sea shanty already written for the Butter Bunch based on Piccolo training Guzheng. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, go to that channel. But if you do know what I'm talking about, just so you know, I am not copying Masako there. I mean, yes, he gave me the idea to do Dragon Ball sea shanties in the first place, but apart from that, I'm not copying him. I'm doing a different shanty. I looked them up. Okay, let's move on to actual other stuff. Something non-YouTube related. I was supposed to go to my aunt's house today. You know, Wednesday supply run and such, but yeah, I never end up going there. Which is a shame because I actually didn't buy tickets to an online performance that a friend of mine is doing because I thought I was gonna go. I forgot to ask what the time was that I was supposed to wake up to do that. So yeah, sorry about that, but yeah, Nan, if you're watching this, hello, I hope you're doing much better. I think I heard you that you were, and you were chipper as usual, but just in case. Okay, I'm going down this way. Avoid the roads as much as possible. I mean, I'm still following a road, but not the same one. Yeah, you know what I meant. So, in terms of other news, let's talk about the Through Her Eyes premiere, actually, because that's another thing that I was really happy about, because yeah, it got a lot of people like interacting live and such. I mean, that's one of the things that I love most about YouTube nowadays, is the fact that you have that premiere feature that you can interact with people live as if you were streaming, and now I can stream as well. It really just cements the community, I think. The way that I'm able to like just, you know, chat amongst the people that show up, and of course that are available at the peak times as determined by me for the most part. I don't know, maybe I should actually look up my actual peak time and see when people most view my things, but I feel like at this point, because I upload so much at the same times of day, it's probably going to change a little bit. Maybe I might have tipped the scales by accident. I'm not sure if that's how that works, but either way, if I ever do find out, then I will let you know. Who knows? But yeah, as for the Through Her Eyes premiere, like I said, that got a lot of people, because I mean, I know I spam promote my my streams and things in other places, but I honestly like DM individual people who are interested in the gacha stuff more so than the AFMAO, which is interesting because, you know, for the longest time I was actually concerned about, you know, the shift to gacha that I made in 2019 and the deviation from AFMAO content. That's before the sub growth that I had in 2020. But yeah, the point is that I was concerned about that initially because obviously AFMAO content gets way more views than most of the gacha content. Sometimes in certain gacha reviews, it's actually neck and neck, or sometimes even the gacha reviews like tip the scales actually. Like the one I did with of Mimi XD, that's actually currently resting I think 200 views or something like that, 200 and something. So there you go. That's more than some of the AFMAO reviews, not so much as the old theories. But then again, I tried to do an AFMAO theory recently, and no one watched it, so there you go. Perhaps that's the sign to close that chapter. Maybe after I do the ones that I actually promised years and years ago. Because again, I don't like breaking my promises, I just like delaying them. Speaking of which, I know I said I was going to do a lot of retro reconstructions, especially in, you know, this month and the next. But yeah, honestly, that didn't pan out the way that I thought it would, because I actually, because of that, I don't know if I mentioned this, but one of the expansion drives that I had was is like come loose in the cable part that's actually like attached to it, which means there has to be a very specific angle and held in a very specific way, you know, for hours on end for me to copy over everything. So I just ended up not being able to do that, which also means that I don't know if I'll be able to get Pixelmon back, because I think that's on the same disc. I mean, I've looked everywhere I could think to see if Pixelmon was somewhere else, and I just saved it at different spots, but I honestly don't know, and I'm getting a bit worried about that. And I haven't like told my dad or anything, because, you know, he's the electronics expert. Well, my mum is too, actually, but mostly my dad, actually, because he's the one who usually is able to deal with more hardware related things. I haven't told him yet, because we've been working on stuff like an internship for a company that I've now found out is called Ramble, and I was going to get that in first. I think also I had a deadline before that I was doing a play submission for and such, so I just kind of like left it because there was other stuff that was more pressing at the time. I'm back to the road again. And on the YouTube side of things, that actually includes Minecraft Adventures, because now I am all caught up on my Minecraft Adventures uploads. There are no more pending uploads of Minecraft Adventures. In fact, we actually filmed something new before a couple of days ago. Just a few like cinematic things to, you know, ensure that our perspective has an excuse for why we haven't really caught up with the likes of Aiden, you know, because his is a power train that will never stop. I mean, honestly, you ask him, he's got a bunch of plans for that series. And honestly, you know, I wasn't really so keen on the whole idea of turning it into a massive roleplay thing like Minecraft Diaries. But, I mean, that was like last year. Sorry, cars. This year, I am somewhat warming up to it. Okay, there's people coming over that way, so I'm going to go this way. Right. Gotten very good at avoiding people since quarantine started. Fortunately, it now involves me treading on that and grass and mud and sludge. And yeah, avoiding puddles. Peppa Pig may like muddy puddles, but I certainly do not. Okay. That was like, oh yeah, I'm warming up to the idea because I'm actually seeming to, you know, he's actually kind of like fit me in a way that doesn't involve me actually doing other stuff. And I've also watched like some of the things that he's been building up to, and they're actually all right. I mean, at first when he proposed the idea of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna add some story to this now, instead of having it all be improv, I'm gonna add a thing with like a bunch of gems or something. I was like, Aiden, come on, really? You just like thought of like this random thing to do with gems or something? And to be fair, he hasn't even done that yet, but he has actually slowly worked in characters into the mix, and he still breaks the fourth wall, so I'm glad about that. But yeah, slowly it seems like our place in that world is more cemented. Actually, much like Minecraft Diaries, and how that worked out. So, all in all, I think it actually really works as a series now. I was very wrong. I'm sorry about that, Aiden. I judged too soon, and I'm honestly still glad to be part of this. But not that he would have fired me. I'm just saying that I'm also glad that I didn't like drop out because of the pressure of like keeping up with the uploads and such. But honestly now, he's taught me even how to use things like CMD cam and such. So, because I mean, when I used it in the past, it was actually him doing all of the recorded shots and such. Now, on the other hand, I could do them myself, which is definitely going to help because I need to make a new intro because he's changed his intro. I mean, Ghosty actually mentioned that my thing feels like a completely different series, which granted was always kind of the way that it happened. I mean, Emma and I had a very different tone to our series and our improv than Ed and Alex did. Still wondering if he's going to excuse the teleportation and such, but maybe he's going to do like the thing in the Dream SMP where you get a bunch of canon deaths or something, and then you're out for good. I don't quite know. I think I kind of just loop back on myself, but that's okay because I'm still talking. So yeah, other thing that I was going to mention this week was the Mutant Girl. I finished compiling all of the audio for all 4 scenes of the next episode. I'm currently working on scene 2. Aiden's already given in scene 1 with no music, but that's because he wants me to decide what music to include this time, which I appreciate. And yeah, Monet's back on editing duty as well for scene 4, but she's only got like the 36 seconds of dialogue plus a little bit of a visual shot later. So again, not too concerned. But yeah, as for me, I have the lab scenes. And yeah, I had to find the lab actually because it's been a while since I filmed episode 6. And I forgot that I made a place was actually like constructing the entire background in a Vegas project, which has been hugely helpful because I can't find it on the website that I downloaded it from. As soon as I forgot to actually link it, so I can't even credit. Yeah, that's not good. But yeah, honestly, like I will expect that to be out fairly soon. Actually, I kind of put a lot of stuff on the back burner because I want to make New Mutant Girl because we still have 6 episodes before season 2 concludes. And there's also a casting call that I'm going to have to do for all those people who wanted to voice act in the series and never got the chance to. You will have the chance to, eventually. But yeah, for now, it's, I've got to sort that out as well, because there's a bunch of new characters. That's going to become a thing in the Mutant Girl. We kind of stopped caring about character slots, which was originally the reason we kept the series so grounded. I don't know what effect that's going to have in the future on the series, because it is a different tone to what you otherwise would have, you know. But I imagine it's going to make the world feel a little bit more alive, because there's not many gachas even today that I've seen that have either extras or a bunch of characters floating around the world. And I feel like the Mutant Girl is such a long-running series now that I think it has to evolve in some way. I mean, obviously it has to evolve in some way to stay relevant, because you always got to evolve to stay relevant. You know, I can't be the same person that I was in 2015, recording with no microphone and just basically like umming and ahhing my entire way through everything. Not that I don't still and ah, but you know, and I say you know as well. But as for the Mutant Girl, yeah, it has to evolve in some way, and I think that way feels somewhat natural, actually. I kind of spent most of yesterday talking about Mutant Girl projects, and Aiden actually pointed out that all of the different seasons have somewhat of a different tone to them. Like season 1 is the introduction, well, because obviously there's going to be every season 1 of every show is always introduction of the characters and what works. Season 2 is more of a, he called it a fun drama. It's not really fun for the characters, but I mean, it might be fun to watch, I'm not sure. The general feedback on the matter of the drama that's been caused is I'm a monster, but well, that's a cross I'm willing to bear, quite honestly. I was expecting it. And then the one we're working on now, which is season 3, is again lots of new characters, new setting, new outlook essentially. I like that because I mean, I'm very glad that I made it so that the characters would age in this series. Like, you might not have seen that if I just stopped at season 1 and then left it there. But honestly, by the time season 1 was being uploaded, season 2 had already been pitched and was being written, so that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, I could have made it like any other long-running show where the characters just don't age. But I didn't want to do that because that's one thing that I don't like about those shows, is the fact that you get growth in an episode and then it's promptly forgotten in the next. In comedy shows, it kind of works a bit more because the intention there is just to make you laugh at the characters' misfortunes and such, but after a while, you really grow to care for the people. So, yeah, I think that's really important. You know, if you grow to care for the characters, you want to see them change, you want to see them grow up with you. I think that's why Harry Potter did so well. Because that same fan base that bought the first book and made it such a huge success was evolving. And in fact, I wasn't there at the start because obviously I wasn't actually born yet. But I first started reading The Philosopher's Stone when I was 11. So yeah, I was right at the right age. I mean, granted, I finished all the books by the time I was 12, but that's beside the point. That's just because it's Harry Potter, and I powered through those and ingrained them in my brain for the rest of my life. Like, no joke, I've only ever done like one full read through of the series, but either it's because I've consumed so much YouTube content around it, or cars, or it's resonated so much with me that yeah, I just remember it. Sometimes with a lot of media, actually. I don't know if I count my memory as selective, but it's definitely extensive in some areas and not so good in other places. I don't know. But yeah, I guess with all the Music Girl stuff, I'm going to tie it all the way back to the Through Her Eyes thing. And once again, I actually remember that a funny anecdote actually is that Emily, the little Nightwolf, I think is her name on YouTube now, I showed her a couple of Music Girl extracts before that premiere, and same thing with M&R again. And it turned out that yes, you actually thought that was on the right tracks. It was all like, you know, that Gotcha 101 thing that I was talking about. I mean, you can definitely see the contrast, especially because episode 6 of season 2 is still the most recent, technically, like in the main series, and also is like a massive callback to episode 1 of season 1, which is the one I also showed her. And then showed her last episode Through Her Eyes, and yeah, apparently she almost cried about that, and then the full premiere came out because Aiden did the movie edit. So yeah, they were the full version, and she was there the entire time. And there were some other people who kind of knew already what was going on. So yeah, some people who already watched the series came back to carry on. Like Miss Devil as well said, "Oh, you're gonna make me cry again, aren't you?" This is where the whole like you're a monster came from for me. But again, I'm really glad that everyone enjoyed that, and that's what makes me think I really want to like keep going with I really want to like make the next Mutant Girl very quickly. Because granted, that's actually also what makes me keep going with the Mutant Girl, actually. Is seeing that growth and seeing that investment. Now that I can do that firsthand. During the first Mutant Girl premiere, no one actually saw it. Like, no one was there for the premiere. Like, it was just me watching what I just spent the last 2 weeks of my life working on. And no one was there. Obviously now that video is almost sitting at 1,000 views, so people have found it since. And now that I'm actually experiencing the growth that I got from mainly doing gacha stuff, actually, gacha reviews and gacha content, overall like the Music Girl, that I can now actually have that sense of community and interaction that I've always wanted, you know, since I started the channel 7 years ago, and just keep it going. And that's what motivates me to keep the Mutant Girl going, actually. You know, it's the thing that got me to where I am now. It only makes sense to continue as long as there's a story to tell, which is what I intend to do. So I'm sorry for all the people who who watched the Mutant Girl like Emily in catch up, because I wouldn't give them spoilers about who certain people were in Through Her Eyes, and it took a long time for them to catch up and watch the Mutant Girl, which is probably like 3 hours of their life or something. I'm sorry to tell you all that because of all the reasons I just listed, there is no real end in sight. So yeah, sorry not sorry. But either way, please leave a like or dislike, because your opinion matters. And please right at the end I messed it up. Anyway, please be sure to subscribe if you've not done so already. And on that note, until next time, farewell.